All right, let's just jump right in, shall we? We're kicking things off today with a claim, and it is a huge one. Seriously, it's so bold it might just flip the way you think about pretty much all the software you use every single day.
So let me just ask you, point blank, that thing you're using to watch this right now, your web browser, could it actually be the most optimal operating system in the world? Yeah, that's the big question on the table today, and believe me, we are about to explore two wildly different answers to it. Okay, so first up, let's hear from the optimist in the room. This is the perspective that's just, it's full of energy, super excited about the future of tech. It's this vision of a perfectly streamlined, efficient digital world. And honestly, it's pretty compelling. Just listen to that. The sheer confidence, not just a good operating system. No, no. The most optimal operating system. Period. That is a massive claim. So let's unpack what our energetic friend here is actually getting at. So the whole argument really hinges on this idea called the install, open, use, close cycle. Now think about it. When you want a new app on your computer or phone, what do? You have to go to an app store, you find it, you download it, you install it, you wait. It's this whole process, right? But with a browser, you just click a link and bam, it's running. That's it. It's insanely fast. And that speed, that's everything for this side of the argument. So how does it do it? How is it so fast? Well, the browser is kind of like a city's power grid. The city pays this huge one-time cost to build the whole thing, right? The power plants, the lines, the whole shebang. That's like the browser installing its rendering engine, its JavaScript runtime, all that complicated stuff. And then, every single new tab, every new web app you open, it's like plugging a toaster into an outlet. The cost is practically zero. It's just tapping into this massive infrastructure that's already there. But okay, hold on. Not everyone is drinking the Kool-Aid here. It's time to bring in another voice, a more, let's call it a grumpy, seasoned perspective. Someone who's seen it all and is here to slam on the brakes on all this techno-optimist hype. And here you can see the two camps laid out, side by side. You've got the zippy view on one side, talking about this amazing, efficient future for all applications. And then you've got the Grizz view on the other, basically saying, whoa, slow down there, kid. It's only optimal for a few things. He'd say, sure, the browser is a fantastic distribution channel. It's a great way to get software in front of people. But is it really the best execution environment? That's a whole different story. Okay, here's reality check number one from our grumpy veteran. Let's get one thing straight. The browser is not an operating system. It's a runtime. And what that means is that it's just a program that runs on top of the real OS, like Windows or Mac OS or Linux. And that's not just a nerdy distinction, it's crucial. The actual OS is the one managing the real hardware, the nuts and bolts. The browser is basically just a tenant renting a room, and it has to play by the landlord's rules. And that whole efficient sharing thing? Yeah, that has a flip side. You've all felt this, right? You have, 40 tabs open, you look at your task manager, and your browser is gobbling up 8 gigs of RAM. Your fan starts screaming. That's not efficiency. That is a classic tragedy of the commons. Every single tab is selfishly trying to grab all the memory and CPU for itself, and what happens? The whole system grinds to a halt. The experience gets worse for everyone.
All right, things are about to get really interesting. We're moving away from the abstract arguments and into a very specific head-to-head showdown. In this corner, we have the heavyweight native application, the powerhouse 3D creation tool, Blender. And in the other corner, the scrappy, lightweight web-based challenger, Three.js.
And here we go. This is our optimist's big gotcha moment. He comes in hot and says, look, I can open a big 3D model in Three.js in 40 different tabs. You can't even dream of doing that with Blender. Case closed. I win. You got to admit, on the surface, that sounds like a total knockout.
40 tabs. It's such a big number. It feels final, undeniable. But is it?
Yeah, our grumpy friend is not impressed. He'd come back and say, case closed? Are you kidding me? You're comparing a bicycle to a freight truck and bragging the bike uses less gas? It's a ridiculous comparison. A Three.js viewer does one thing, it shows you a model. Blender is a whole factory. It's got a modeling kernel, a physics engine, a Python runtime, the whole 9 yards. Yeah, the bike is more efficient, but you're not hauling steel beams with it. They are fundamentally different tools for different jobs.
And this is the real kicker. He would say, that's not optimization, that's a managed lie. The only reason you can pretend to have 40 tabs open
is because the browser is a master of deception. It's secretly putting all those background tabs to sleep. It's throttling them, starving them of resources, sometimes even just killing them and reloading them later. It's creating the illusion of concurrency. It's not actually running 40 things at once. It's a shell game. But our optimist isn't down for the count. He pivots. He comes back with a better, stronger argument. He says, okay, fine, you're right about how things are today, but there is absolutely nothing inherent in the web that stops a Three.js app from one day becoming as powerful as Blender. The only thing missing is just the time and the investment in the code. He's shifting from what is to what could be. But our grumpy veteran shakes his head, because there is something stopping it. A very big, very intentional something. The browser's single greatest feature, its security sandbox, is also its Achilles heel when it comes to raw performance. All these limitations you see here, this isn't stuff that web developers just haven't gotten around to adding yet. These are intentional design choices. They are trade-offs made to keep you safe. And those safety features create a performance ceiling that a native app just doesn't have to deal with. And this is where the argument just hits a wall. The back and forth stops, and the comeback isn't technical at all. It's just, you sound grumpy, lol. And you know what? It's kind of perfect. It's funny, it breaks the tension, and it's the moment the whole debate pivots from a fight to an actual conversation. Because once the dust settles from that little tussle, something really interesting happens. A new, much smarter idea starts to form. We realize, hey, maybe it's not about one side being right and the other being wrong. Maybe they're both right, just about different things. And get this, our grumpy skeptic actually concedes a huge point. He agrees that when you look at the trajectory, the direction that all new software development is heading, the browser model is undeniably winning. And it's not because it's technically the best at everything. It isn't. It's because the economics of it are just unbeatable. Think about it. Instant updates, no installation, works everywhere. That's a juggernaut you just can't stop. And if you want proof, look no further than the Chromebook. It's the living embodiment of this idea, an entire OS where the browser is king. And what happened? It's cheaper, it's way more secure, it's simpler to manage, and it has completely taken over huge markets like education and enterprise. This isn't just some theory anymore. This is a fact on the ground. So, all of this, it leads us to the grand finale, the big synthesis of this whole debate. Because it turns out, the answer isn't browser, and it isn't native OS. The real answer is something way cooler and way more forward-thinking. This right here, this is the mic drop. The browser isn't the OS. The server isn't the OS. The boundary itself is the OS. The OS of the future isn't a place on your desk. It's the invisible, dynamic line between your device and the cloud. And the whole game is about making that line elastic. So here's how that works in the real world. Step 1. The browser is just the surface. It's the screen where we do all our stuff. Step 2. The heavy lifting, the actual compute becomes a commodity. It can happen anywhere, wherever it's cheapest and fastest. And step 3, that boundary between your screen and the server becomes totally flexible. If you're on a beefy PC, the work happens right there. If you're on a cheap phone, the work happens invisibly in the cloud. You, the user, never even notice. The system just figures it out. So that's where we land. We started with this seemingly simple question, is the browser the best OS? And we ended up somewhere way deeper. What if the very concept of an OS as a place is outdated? What if the next revolution in operating systems isn't a piece of software in your machine at all, but that intelligent, invisible, elastic boundary connecting everything? Now that is a future we're thinking about.